Thank you. Do you have a clicker? Okay, got it. So, good morning, everybody. Can I ask you something, please, to help me? Would you like to stand up for me, please? Could you just stand up? Thank you. Thank you. This is what we do as KLM. Moving people. Getting a little bit higher up in the air. A little bit higher than you are now. You can sit again. It's nice that you... I was just testing the audience to see the willingness to change. But you are kind of willing, so that's nice. That's what we do. I work at the KLM Digital Transformation. We call it the KLM Digital Studio. And I'm going to touch upon some things that are already mentioned this morning. But what we do, we focus on our employees. Not only on the customers, but on our employees. And I'll explain a bit later. But one other thing is interesting to mention is that I think this year or next year, British Airways is going to be 100 years old. An airline that's 100 years old is kind of rare. Do you know who is the oldest airline company in the world? Can you guess? Of course. Otherwise I wouldn't have this. It's us. We became 100 last October the 7th. We were royal even before we flew. Our Queen Wilhelmina stated this is an important thing to do. To have an airline connect to the world and grow the Netherlands, grow Holland. And we had a big party, all of us, in October to celebrate this nice event. By the way, did you know what was our first commercial flight? Where we went? We flew to Amsterdam, but we flew from London. So before British Airways did that, we flew from London to Amsterdam. So it was a nice flight, nice experience. So we did that. But you can imagine that if you are 100 years old, that the things you do are sometimes always 100 years old. They are slow. This morning, someone asked, will you be there in another 10 years or something? Being 100 years becomes rare. To be growing and to stay alive in this ever-changing world is something we say, okay, it's a challenge. How are we going to make that happen? How are we going to stay alive? How are we going to make the difference? We want to be pioneers. We were that, flying as the first one from Europe to the States, for example. But right now, how do you make this difference? How can you stay relative? We would like to be customer-centric, innovative, efficient. Because with flying you don't make a lot of money. You need to do it with other stuff. And especially if you're not the cheapest one or the most luxurious one, you need to do it differently. And what we thought is, okay, what we should do is we should focus on the people. Our tagline, our purpose, where everything starts, is moving your world. That's what we try to do. Moving your world by creating memorable experiences. And a positive one, because you can have a memorable experience as well. That's not so positive. We focus on the memorable experience to touch hearts, because you all know from things you read in the neuroscientific literature that if you trigger someone's heart, he or she might not even know what you've been talking about, but you did know how it makes you feel. And that's also why I asked you a bit to stand up, because it triggers something in your brain. And then if you think back at the Digital Transformation Conference, there was this weird guy from an airline from the Netherlands, and he asked us to stand up for no reason at all in the end, because he didn't have any reason just to let us move around. But it helps to really make a difference. Sometimes it's just a small thing. This morning I was with my colleagues flying, and you know what they did? I don't even know what exactly the occasion was, but I saw it happening. This purser, she went over to a couple and she handed them a bottle of champagne with a small card from the staff on board. And these people were smiling from ear to ear. Just a little gesture. These people will talk about it. They will tell their relatives, you know what happened? I just got a bottle of champagne. For us, it's a small thing. For them, we probably knew something special. And we kind of make it happen that they got the attention they didn't even ask for, but they liked it. I saw it on their face. That's what we try to do, make a difference. And to do that, to make that happen, we must enable our people, our employees, to be the best. And that's what we try to do. We try to focus from the digital studio, from our digital transformation program, to help our employees do what they do best. Because we have this statement that they are in contact with the people who are paying. They are the people who we want to be returning to us, flying with us. And if they can make the difference, touching hearts, moving worlds, creating memorable experiences, then they will come back. That's kind of a lot of scientific stuff to read about that part. So that's what we try to do. How did we do that? Well, there was a question from the audience about, do you do something besides the company, or do you do something internally? And I think one of the panel members stated, don't go do innovation outside the company, so you can tick that box, but try to have this kind of incubator. Try to make the company aware that digital should happen. And that's what we're trying to do. So we are separate, but connected. That's how we state it. And we work agile. According to Dave West, we have this Scrum Studio concept. So we are kind of religious in how we do agile, but still learning. Because there's no real way of doing it at scale. Yeah, you have safe and you have less, but we do it with the digital Scrum Studio. And we have all kinds of people, different kind of people, and we do different kind of things. One of the things I personally helped out with, and that's maybe something I didn't hear yet this morning, is we got an anthropologist in. Because I really like those kind of people. If they are a breed, I don't know, but I really like their way of thinking. They are always, in my case, kind of provoking my way of thinking, because I think I like to do what is good for people. One of my professional hobbies is employee experience, but I also like IT. I'm an automation center of excellence lead, so I do automation all the time, looking at processes. How can I remove repetitive, dull tasks to automate it? But she always provoked me. Did you think about the people? Do you know what they really need? Did you went over and did you experience what they learned? So anthropology is maybe something you should think about in your digital transformation, because it's all about people. And then, of course, we like to do digital stuff as well. So we have virtual reality, we have augmented reality, we do stuff with artificial intelligence. Well, all the Industry 4.0 technologies, we touch upon them. And we do that in a special way. Well, not special, but in a specific way. I will share that with you guys later. Another thing, and I also heard that this morning, is service design. A little bit in the same corner to really get to know and understand what's needed. So these are kind of our 3 pillars. We try to experiment a lot, but we also try to deliver stuff. And then with that, those 2 things we try to transform. Because I think that also was the question this morning, how do you do it in the best possible way? What I learned, and that's kind of resonating already in my roles, I am in the digital transformation for 3 years almost. I started as an internal digital consultant, talking to HR people, talking about how can we improve the employee journey, make it similar to our customer journey. Because our people focusing on our customer were pretty sophisticated in how they understand our customers. Can we learn from them? That's what we did. Create a draft of the employee experience. And we tried to start to experiment with simple stuff, maybe compared to what was out there. But we really learned a lot. Then my next role was product owner. I became product owner of the robotic process automation team. We are called the humanizers, because we have a tagline, we take the robot out of you, so we make you more human. The humanizers. So we tried to make a product. We took one of the technologies. It wasn't there yet in our company. And we are now creating what we call virtual employees, digital workers, to take away the repetitive, dull stuff from our employees so they can focus on other stuff, the more creative stuff, thinking about new models, and all the other stuff can be done by a virtual employee. So we are delivering. And right now, I'm the Automation Center of Excellence lead. So we are industrializing it. We saw, okay, it's not there yet. We saw that a lot of people say, well, we want this. How can we learn and teach them to do it themselves? So we can scale it out and then focus again, starting with experimenting again, making a product out of it, maybe become a center of excellence, and then scale out back to the business. That's what we try to do. So one of our experiments we are very proud of is we would like to see if we could automate the work our engineers are doing. We have a lot of them. A lot of them are getting older as well. And these engines, they have a lot of parts. And if you need to remove an engine, you need to do it in a specific way, in a specific order. And if you need to put it back together, also that needs to be done in a specific way. And you have manuals like this, and then you need to look up how to, I don't know the English word for that, but you need to put a kind of a screw. It's not really a screw, but with a certain amount of force. I don't know the English word, but it's in the manual. And you need to know. You need to do it exactly like that. But it's time consuming. So what we did is we did an experiment. Could HoloLens, the hypothesis, could HoloLens help us out speeding up this process? Well, let's see.
In order to stimulate innovation and to experiment with new technologies, KLM Engineering and Maintenance are teaming up with the Digital Transformation Program with the goal to make life easier for our aircraft technicians. We're focusing on the removal and installation of a variable frequency starter generator, or VFSG. This process contains a lot of steps, and the mechanic has to refer to the manual frequently.
Using a Microsoft HoloLens, I can now see all my information in 3D, straight in front of me, and I never have to get away from my workplace anymore to see my maintenance procedure or to look up a part number.
The mechanic has full control over the model. For example, he can rotate the model, make it show all the parts he's working on, or check the next step in the process of replacement. He can keep two hands on the metal, drastically reducing the time he spends looking at a manual.
We've compared the process of looking up part numbers, the traditional way and using the HoloLens. The traditional way took over 45 minutes, and with the HoloLens it took less than 3 minutes, which is an amazing increase in efficiency.
That's awesome, right? It's awesome that from 45 minutes to 3 minutes, and we are touching a lot of engines. Well, I'm not, but our specialists are touching a lot of engines. Luckily, I'm not touching anything because my hands are like that. 2 left hands I have. But it's really awesome. But the experiment kind of was successful, but it failed on doing it with a HoloLens. Because the HoloLens, it was cool and it helped, but it was too heavy for the engineers. The scope of a HoloLens was too narrow. You couldn't really touch everything in your augmented reality as needed. So we shifted, and now we're going to do the same experiment, working on that with Apple technology and hardware. Another thing we do, because I cannot take all the credit for our digital transformation, because we have a lot of smart people in our company. And at the operational decision support team, they created some awesome algorithms. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was 8 weeks ago, you would say, I heard here from Britain that there's a lot of rain and talking about the weather always. In the Netherlands, it's kind of similar. And I think of all airports, Amsterdam Airport has the most disruptions caused by weather. And that's, for us, it's difficult. Because if there's a disruption, and 8 weeks ago, I don't even know exactly what, I think it was kind of windy, then the whole capacity of all strips goes down from 64 an hour to 38. You can imagine that means a lot of cancellations. And cancellations means a lot of people that are not happy. People that are not happy, that's not how we would like to touch them. You remember creating memorable experiences? Those are not the experiences we would like them to remember. But because of a pretty sophisticated algorithm which calculates millions of opportunities, what are the best ways to cancel some flights so others can continue? To do that in the best possible way, we have a system for that, but right now, based on data, we have an awesome algorithm that helped us out to avoid 35% of cancellations. That means a lot of people, a lot of luggage who could pass through Amsterdam, because it's really a hub. People coming in, flying in, and then flying out again. Some stay, of course. But because of this algorithm, we were able to help 35% of our flights to just fly. And that means a lot of happy customers, because they also see that something is happening and they see other airlines being cancelled. So that's really something we try to make happen. So in summary, this is what we try to do. If it's about digital transformation, these are our key points. What we try to do, we are pretty smart, but there are much more smart people out there. So we try to connect them to them. Try to connect to startups, try to connect to universities, try to connect to other, maybe sometimes even children. I heard that somewhere as well, because they have a different vision on your reality and they can inspire. So what we do also is we facilitate how we can explore new things. It's not because of technology, but we state that every level of knowledge enables or unlocks a new level of knowledge or insights, and that's what we try to do. I call them sessions I call them the serendipity sessions. The sessions you find what you were not looking for, those are interesting. So we organize inspirational sessions, and we had people in with a biomimicry mindset. We had people in from Renault, the designer, that's also a Dutch guy, the lead designer, coming in, people who skate or do other kinds of top sports. We invite them to talk about their passion, and that's inspiring us to do digital transformation. Try it. It's really fun how it will trigger your brain. So we experiment, I already told you. We learn, we fail, we try to make that, happen fast, of course. So you don't spend too much money on it, but you learn a lot to experiment. And that's also kind of the pivot we are currently taking, is to try to experiment more. Next year, it will be all about experimenting, because this year was about product delivery. So the things we figured out, we are delivering them right now. Curiosity, that's also kind of connected to the serendipity thing. How can we help the rest of the company? So we organize what we call demo festivals. People coming in, we organize some fun stuff. Then you can learn about methodologies, you can learn about technologies, you can just connect to us, and we learn from you, and we try to teach you something as well. We organize that every year. And then we also accept that not everybody is fond of transformation. Maybe people in general don't like change. But what we try to do is to respect where you are in your own way of changing and transforming. And sometimes people call us kind of a terrorist cell. I also, in the beginning, when we were just digital transformation, I said that we are like this disease and the body tries to work us out. Really, people these people don't pay attention, this digital transformation, they will die. Well, we didn't, we're there to stay, and we are helping them out. But we respect them. If they don't want it yet, we try to inspire, try to spark some interest, but sometimes it takes a while. And also digital transformation, I think in general, one of our kind of coaches stated, transformation, it's a beautiful mess. And that's what it is. Sometimes we cry, literally, sometimes we laugh, but we try to make it happen. And we are kind of steadfast in that. We really like to do it. So it's technology, but it's all about these guys and girls and ladies. We took some engineers, but it's really about the people. Digital transformation is really about the people. So that's what we try to do. So, take out, transformation is relative. That's our statement. Back in the days when we went into factories or we invented the computer, that was digital transformation. Now we're talking about IoT, algorithms, blockchain, neural networks, whatever. But it depends also where your company is. So digital transformation, check out where your company is and decide what you would like to do. What's your purpose? And then try to leapfrog towards your purpose by supporting it by digital transformation. Experimenting. Keep experimenting because you don't know what's best. We don't have this crystal ball. So if you just try to touch upon the future by just faking it or thinking how should it be, I don't know how much time I have left, 3 minutes. One more thing about the brain. The brain is kind of, you could call it lazy or efficient. I have another kind of game. Can you imagine yourself a sunset? Picture of a sunset. Can you do that for me, please? You have a picture? Okay, testing. Does your picture have seagulls in it? Does your picture have people on the beach walking? Does share picture have a pose? No. It's just probably a sun, maybe some clouds, a little bit of water. That's it, right? You know why? Because our brain is efficient. So it just pictures what's needed to be pictured. You ask for a sunset, that's the sunset, right? You don't need people. I'm not even in the picture. So it's really efficient. But if you want to be creative, you need to go out of that line of just, yeah, this is how it's. So if you have an idea, just store it and go to the next one. Then you're starting to experiment and you're forming your brain to think new things. And then technology is fun, but not everybody believes it. So put people at the core and then seduce them into it. Kind of persuade them, and how can it work for you? Because there are nice things to technologies, and they're probably using it at home. But then they enter the corporate building and then they don't like technology anymore. That's strange. They all have a smartphone probably. So why is the smartphone working and your digital transformation not? Make it fun. That's why they use the phone. And my daughter asked me, do you know a fun game, Dad, on the iPad? I say Candy Crush. No, not Candy Crush. But I downloaded it again just to figure out where they were and how to persuade me and keep playing Candy Crush. And I made it one night. I went to bed at 1 o'clock. So they tricked me again. But how to do that? Technology is fun, so make it fun. So you can trick your people into digital transformation as well. So that's it. We like to be inspired as well. Connect to us, maybe via Instagram, klm.digital studio, or another way, connect to us. We're happy to have you at our digital studio, but maybe we can visit you guys to learn, but enjoy the whole digital transformation ride. That's it.
Thank you so much, Asher. We do have time for one quick question, if there is one from the audience. Anyone? Yeah.
Sorry, you got it. We were just quickly talking about it actually regarding the sunset, that this was exactly what came up. Just the sunset, nothing else. No birds, not even the beach, no people. So that was actually not a question.
Yeah, and I'm not a magician. It's just how our brains work. But this gentleman had a question. And I'm not neuroscience either. I just copy it from one.
Thank you. Do you have teams that still question the digital journey?
Sorry, do I have teams?
Do you have teams around you that still question the digital journey?
I don't have them around me. I try to avoid them. No, I don't have them around me. I think they are there still. Yeah, and it's. I don't know if they question it, but they just don't see the added value yet. We really try to advocate that it is really needed. So maybe they are now hiding and they don't speak up anymore. But I do think that people still sometimes look at us as, they're kind of on this playground and don't pay too much attention, so they are still there. This is the happy story. There's also kind of not the Black Mirror version, but there's kind of the dark side. That is really hard, that sometimes people are not really attacking me kind of physically, but they are really trying to say, well, I don't know what you guys are doing, but we are running a business here and we're doing it for years now. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? So I think they are still there, but their tone of voice is shifting. And I truly believe that if you have all the same purpose, and we saw it during our party 100 years, then we are all blue, not complaining, but really people, and they do it, that's also maybe interesting, they do it because they believe it's best. So, and if they have good intentions, and you are going to tell something else, then you're maybe touching their integrity. So it becomes a psychological game. And if you are aware, play the game. Take them along. We have the same purpose. We would like this company to be 200 years as well. So can we team up? Because I need you, you need me. You don't know yet, but you need me as well. So let's team up. So those kind of conversations we have a lot. And I really like that Lisbeth, who should have been here, she's really fighting those kind of fights. For us, kind of to fence off fence us off, so we can focus on the people who are coming in who really like to team up with us. So that's maybe also good to organize. Defend the pioneers. Defend them, help them, because it's a hard game. Yeah, good question.
Asher, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.